Sweetheart. Are you still?
What's up, guys? It's Mr. Demetrius back again, once again for another video. I know it's been a quick minute since I last posted, but I can explain. To start off, I sat my A levels in May. Towards the end of the month, I got my results a few days ago, and let's just say I was quite shocked, quite surprised with my results. I'd say I did average at best. I failed a lot, which I did expect. I don't know how they expect me to remember every single freaking case based off of numerous scenarios as a traumatized gay boy living in Africa. Looking at my country's laws and politics, I'd say it's
Piki piki ponki Pacamiello disco.
Almost missed it because I thought it was an afternoon session paper, but it turned out to be the morning. Quick meaning about Excel or A-level exams. So we basically have two sessions which we sit for our papers. The morning session which starts at 9 a.m. and then the afternoon session that starts at 12 p.m. So I remember just waking up, going to make some French toast for myself, and then when I went back to my room to check on my phone, because I wanted to scroll on TikTok, I remember being berated by text messages from my friend asking me where I was, and then the exam coordinator literally called me, asked me where are you? Can you come here to school? You're gonna miss your fucking paper. And then I remember getting there at 9:28 a.m. and I remember after the exam, my coordinator was telling me, you would have missed that paper if you came 2 minutes later. So it was a very pleasant way to start off my exams. And then the next paper I had, a few days later, I had managed to drop my school ID, when I was going home from doing my law paper. And I remember when I came to school, because apparently I was not going to be able to go into the exam room if I didn't have an identification card, and I didn't have my ID at that time, and I didn't have a passport. So I just went to school, knew I was going to go to the exam coordinator to try and figure out something, and it was just my bad luck. My bad luck from the beginning of the exams. But luckily that morning when I went to school, the soldier who guards the gate at our school managed to pick my school ID when I dropped it that previous day, and I was relieved. Not, and I guess it kind of spoke with my business results because I did really well, but the opposite was history, specifically paper 4. So a little bit of context about history paper 4. So that specific day, I had a clash between two subjects. That was business, my last business paper, and then my last history paper, paper 4. And they were both in the afternoon, so just keep that in mind. And so, brief summary of history paper 4, it's basically the Cold War. So you learn about the beginning of the Cold War, how it developed, and then how it ended. And so the paper is usually set in two phases. One is a source-based question, which you have to answer, and then the next half is the part where you choose between two questions. And so the source is usually based off of the years 1945 to 46, just the beginning of the Cold War. And then the two questions, the first one is set from after the beginning of the Cold War till the Cuban Missile Crisis. And then the other question is usually the cooling down of the Cold War when Russia became Russia, and then, so that was the basic gist of history paper 4. So I literally just sat down. Usually most people I know just decide to prep for everything before the cooling down of the war. So everything till the Cuban Missile Crisis. But oh boy, did these examiners decide to switch things up, y'all. I remember opening that paper and then scrolling through the questions, and I was just this tortured me. They literally said, bet you that every single question was after 1970. after the Cuban Missile Crisis, and I did jack to prepare for for everything after 1970 to 1990. And not only that, but I stay in the coast, and it's very hot and humid, especially in the afternoon, and it was on a Friday. So when I saw when I got that paper after getting my results, I was not surprised, but I was a little bit surprised because that was the lowest grade I ever got in my life. Like, a little bit of context, like prior to that, my lowest grade I ever got was back in O levels. I got a 33 in bio in an exam, and it's biology, whatever. I'm still trying to process the grade that I got, but at least based off of last year when I sat half of my papers, it kind of made my average alright. But I'll never forget how Excel played me like a fiddle on that history paper for, and it's a story to tell. So after that, I graduated school. I was done with high school. Thank God. I mean, that school. Like, my graduation was a horror, horror story of its own. I think I'll just tell you guys the story like in a later video if you guys want to do that. But the next big thing that happened during those 3 months was the call to action competition that was held by Webtoon. So, like, the deadline of the competition was the 31st of June, and it opened, submissions opened on the 1st of June. So my final paper was, I'd say, around 15th of June. It was law paper 2. So I figured I'd be able to make an entry and submit it in time. Oh, but oh boy. My dear old friend's procrastination and perfection decided to come have a dinner date with me during those 1.5 months. So I came up with that concept instead of storyboarding, which I did traditionally. I was roughly done with all that by the middle of July. When it came to actually sketching and putting everything together, my God, did I procrastinate. But I think it was the final week towards the deadline, I decided, you know what, just do it. Just fucking do it. And I finally gained the motivation to complete my first comic, which was like a one. I was just required to make one chapter. That was it. So I managed to make roughly like 90 panels. But midway through the week, I finished lining everything. I finished drawing everything. So it was just filling in the flats and adding some shading for some light, for the lighting and the backgrounds. And oh boy, little did I know that we were going to move like on the 30th of July. And granted, my mom did tell me we were going to move at the end of the month, but I had completely forgotten about that. So, like, I remember that Saturday very vividly. We woke up and my parents were trying to figure out where to move because apparently where we were supposed to move at first, the tenants didn't give us a key to the house, so we couldn't even move. So they literally went house hunting for half of the day, and then we ended up starting to move at around 3 after they got a place, and the movers ended up staying till 11. And they weren't even done. We ended up having to eat dinner at like 12 a.m., which was not bad for me, but for my parents, that was like horrific. I don't think they've ever eaten a meal that late at night, but the movers had to come back the next day to finish up, and they finished at around 12 p.m., around that time. And Sunday was the only time I had left because I couldn't draw after moving. It was so hectic after that. They didn't even finish setting up my bedroom, so I couldn't even do anything. And so I remember struggling that Sunday to freaking fill in flats and start shading. When it reached at around 8 p.m., I decided to just look back at my work, and I wasn't happy with how it was coming out. So I just had to make the tough decision to just stop, give up, and after that, I just went into like a state of apathy and depression for about a week. After that, it took me a week to try and process what happened and accept what happened and learn from what happened. And I feel like from that experience, it really taught me about procrastination and deadlines, my dear friends, especially as an artist, specifically an artist who makes comics for a living. Procrastination is such a deadly deadly disease. I think I'll make a video about procrastination and artists in general and my experience with it. After, during me making the script of this video, a few weeks prior, I tried to be consistent on my socials, and that was successful until I decided to do this fan out of Zhongli, man. It destroyed me for a few days. I lost my focus, and I finally got the motivation to finish it, and here we are now. Me doing a speedrun of one of the two daddies of Genshin Impact. I still think Kito is the hottest character there, but child, even though he gets a little bit of hate, I still love him. But I don't know, guys. Thank you for listening to this rant of me trying to explain why I had disappeared for 3 months without any notice. I hope you guys enjoyed this speedprint of Zhongli, and I will try and be more consistent on my socials. So we'll try to at least upload a video a week and try and upload 3 posts on my socials, especially TikTok. I've realized that TikTok is way better than Instagram because Instagram's just been demotivating me with the amount of seeing about the amount of likes I get and the amount of interactions I get on that social media app. It's very depressing to see, but I will promise to be more consistent with me uploading to YouTube finally. And thank you guys again for listening to me, and I hope you guys have a great day. Make sure if you like this video, make sure to click the like button and subscribe, and why not share it to a friend. And I'll see you guys in the next